Well, hello and welcome to another Tyrrell's Classic Workshop. We're back with the Italian Exotica this week, and how. This is a Lamborghini Miura SV that we have just finished doing a complete, absolute, utter, total and full restoration on. And it came from Miami, this car, came from the US. It's been stripped back. Every last nut and bolt has been changed on this car, or not changed actually, but restored, because we even try to reuse and refinish mechanical fasteners if we can. It's the sort of level of detail that we go to, really. But this isn't quite the video I had anticipated, because we've been in the fortunate position that we've had three Miuras that have just become finished at the same time, three restoration projects. One of them has already been delivered last week. This one is going to Europe this week, and we've got another one going to Europe the week after, all different parts. But it's not often we have three Miuras that just happen to be finished at the same time. But this being an SV is something a bit special. And not only that, it's special upon special, if you will. We can supply some pictures of the sort of the level of and depth of restoration work that we put into it. But it spent a lot of its life in the US, this car, decades. And it was done, it had a lot of work done on it by the Lamborghini mechanic for the factory in America, Claudio Zampoli. And he came up with this rather wonderful dry sump lubrication system for the oil, which Miuras need, really, to give them a constant oil supply when on startup and round bends, etc. They can get a bit starved of engine oil because the pickup pipe isn't immersed in oil for a moment because of the G-force, the oil splashing round. So it's got this, and Claudio Zampoli also fitted 11-inch instead of 9-inch rear wheels. He had some special wheels made for Miuras at the back end. Do they look wonderful? Do they look aggressive and haunchy? Or do they look over the top? There's a question, really. But they're the correct size of Miura SV tyres. The disappointment is that, as I've said many times on this channel before, the business is first, the YouTube channel is second. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to all the wonderful people who have supported and followed the channel, but the channel is spawned from a working business. So we can't always align things perfectly for the benefit of the YouTube channel. And unfortunately, this is one of those cases, because I'd hoped to do some final shakedown miles by driving the car on the road with the cameras on it, mic'd up, etc. But it's just not been possible. The weather here has been atrocious, and the car is all detailed. We've vacuum cleaned the wheel arches, thank you very much, to get rid of all the tiny little stones and things that it picked up from the road. So the last thing I want to do is take this out in the rain. We know it works. We've done some work fine-tuning on the gear change mechanism, which, as I've said in previous videos, is incredibly critical on these cars, because there are so many. There's about 15 joints between the gear lever and the actual gear operating mechanism. It's a fiendishly complicated system. We've spent a lot of time getting that right. It's particularly stiff, the mechanism, when they're new, till the synchro rings start to bed in the gearbox. This is one of the last 92 Miura SVs built, and they made 150 only of them, including 7 or 9 right-hand drive, depending on whether you're talking about cars that were built on the production line or then altered later by the factory to right-hand drive. 7 originals built. This is not one of them. This is a left-hand drive car. We've redone it to its exact original specification, colour-wise, etc. Most Miura SVs had the gold wheels and gold sills to differentiate them, just to make them look a bit more 70s and whizzy. But this car actually remains silver, the arches, the wheels and sills, and I actually think it looks better for it, but that's a matter of personal opinion. Again, I'm sure people will make comments about that one way or the other. It's been a lot of work to get this car up to speed. Craig has done a wonderful job. We've sourced the original velour material, velluto in Italian, for him to do the seats. He's worked his wonder on that. The whole interior has been retrimmed on this car. unlike some of the others we've had in where we've preserved them and kept them meticulously. This is all new because it had been retrimmed with pretty cheap and nasty leather, with some pretty cheap and nasty labour as well at some point in the car's life. Gone. So it's been quite the project, this. The SV, one of the things I did want to show you was that the handling is different on the SV from the other Miuras. It's much more planted on the road. Next time we get an SV in, it won't be too long, we'll do that. But these really are a step up from the P400 and the S, the earlier Miuras. They are something special, and that's why they command a hefty price now. They've blasted through the $3 million US dollar mark now, these cars, well and truly, the SVs. I did at least have to make a video before the car left. It's due to leave in the next working day. So before it does, now it's all done, looking fantastic and working fantastic, we had to do a video on it. It's short but sweet. I hope you like it. It's not often one gets first-hand insight into a freshly restored, ultra-rare version of an ultra-rare car to begin with, particularly with the passing of the person who designed it, Marcello Gandini. We have to put that in there. There are all sorts of conspiracy theories about who did or did not design this bit or that bit. I have had a first-hand conversation with Marcello Gandini at his house about how he styled the Miura. That takes a bit of contesting, really, but well, one of the reasons why the SV is so very venerated in Lamborghini circles is the fact that this was sort of the Miura coming of age. The people who developed the Miura as a sort of out of working hours project, Bob Wallace, Paolo Stanzani, Gianpaolo Dallara, developed the Miura as hoping to go racing, hoping to persuade Ferruccio Lamborghini to go racing. He said no, but what came out of it was this sort of slot racing car-esque Miura. Boy, did they were inundated with orders for this car, so they had to rush it into production. And that meant that the early cars were beautifully conceived, but just didn't quite have the icing on the cake when it came to quality and development. Wonderful works of art as they are. What they did was a series of development while the Miura was being produced, and you had various generations, but the SV was the ultimate production generation. One of the main changes was the back suspension. I talked about this in a video some videos ago, probably 5 or 6 videos ago. I talked about the rear suspension on a Lamborghini Miura on the whiteboard. And the fact that the SV has got true double wishbone back suspension on the lower arms, and this is a big deal because it means that the suspension is rigid and it doesn't move about and float about and give rear wheel steer like the early Miura's suspension does. So the SV came of age, really, and the back suspension made a huge difference to the way they handled. I actually drove a Miura SV a few weeks ago on the La Tourbie Road in the south of France, near Monaco, on the Côte d'Azur. I actually drove that as part of an inspection, so we can include that drive, that brief drive of a Miura SV in the video. So at least we got some footage of me driving a Miura SV. Yeah, they handle absolutely beautifully. They really do. They're a step up from the Miura. All Miuras are wonderful, but some are more wonderful than others. There it is, the Lamborghini Miura SV, one of the last 92. The reason that the last 92 are differentiated is Lamborghini were experimenting with a limited slip differential in the gearbox because the power could be put down on the outside wheel in corners more. The weight actually allowed higher G-forces, which meant the weight got relieved on the inside wheel and you could spin the inside wheel. That's why Lamborghini went for a ZF limited slip differential in the last 92 Miuras built. And that's why they became what's called split sump, because limited slip differentials need special LS additives in the gearbox oil for the clutches to work properly in the limited slip differentials. Otherwise they bind and lock up instead of operating smoothly like a clutch. That's why the oil for the gearbox and the oil for the engine became separate instead of one lubrication system. So engine oil for the engine, limited slip gearbox oil for the gearbox with limited slip differential. And the result of that is that the back end of the car, as well as having the bigger the SV's wheels and tyres anyway, the back end of the car was raised 12 millimetres to make room for a slightly deeper sump to take separate engine oil and separate gearbox oil. Apart from the 5 or 6 SVJ Miuras, this is the ultimate Lamborghini Miura in the ultimate colour scheme with the ultimate specification, with 1 or 2 choice modifications. If 007 was Italian, he'd be going crazy for this car. Anyway, there we go. Hope you've enjoyed it. Sorry it's so short, but better late than never, better short than nothing. Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe and like, and we'll be back with something else very soon.